So welcome everyone. Good morning. Yes, I am your instructor Nikhil Bugalia for this particular course, Construction Economics and Finance. Couple of new things you might be noticing, new for me as well, not only for you. First is I cannot move too much around because then I'm out of the frame. So I have to be in a particular area in order to still make it more interactive. So there is a lot of learning curve even for me, the way I have to teach this course, but I will try to still have the same level of interactiveness that I usually keep. I like that. Second, I cannot wear my favorite color anymore because if I wear, I'll be invisible. So I have to have a lot of blues and reds this semester. So be there is a lot of warning coming up there. Okay. All right. So a formal introduction for those of all of you who don't know me. I'm Nikhil Bogalia. I'm an assistant professor in Building Technology and Construction Management Group. My main focus or the passion area of research is on the safety, construction safety and railway safety. But this is also another course that I teach, and this is my third time I've been taking this course. Every time taking through different modes. I'll explain you what was different. So this time also we have a unique setup, and that brings us unique opportunities and challenges, right? I'll also introduce you to my team. So I have 7 TAs. Some of you might be your friends, but if you use them, both of you will go out of the class, both the TAs as well as you. So the TA team will be actively involved in setting up the question papers, grading the question papers, grading your assignments and all those things. So, and they will be the one interacting most with you. I will have of course, through the Google Classroom that I usually use, I will have all the access to your comments and all. I will pitch in, but mostly you'll be interacting with them. Okay. So yeah, not bad idea to make friends with them. I have tried to represent all the batches. So UOP program, 4th semester, we have Kirti, Vikshay and Hiratik. From MTech 4th semester, we have Akshat and Anish, and dual degree, Dheeraj and Vishnu. Not from other department. I'm sorry, I could not have the power to recruit them as my TA, right? So this is the team. You'll be hearing from them a lot. Basic information that is most critical for you to make decisions today. So the first line reads that time at which you have to be awake and make mistakes. Essentially, during my course, as it goes, you are allowed to make n number of mistakes, repeat the mistakes, not a problem. Interact with me, communicate with me, get your doubts cleared. But the idea is, those of you know or you have experience with me, I'm a very strict evaluator when it comes to evaluation. But when it comes to giving you the opportunity and making sure that you learn, I will also try my best so that you get the message and you get the learning, right? So the focus is on the input side, but output is also expected at a certain level. So if it does not resonate with the philosophy with the way you want to learn, please excuse yourself from the class. I can't, sorry. So that's the condition. This is a 9-credit course, but we have been allotted 4 slots. So Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday is the normal classes that I will take. Friday is only for the backup classes. In case because of some disruption here and there, we are not able to cover, or only all the makeup classes if I have to take, I will announce that. That's classes we will schedule in Friday. But our typical classes will be on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So you get a very nice 4 days break for finishing your assignments, catching up with the course and all. Again, anytime if you have any doubts, like last time and for the 2 sessions that I've already done, I arranged extra sessions also for assignments related doubt clearing or anything you want. We can always arrange that, but that will be a small group of interested students, not for everyone, right? In general, this semester, I expect 2 major disruptions in terms of the class schedule. One is Shastra weekend is when? 25th, 26th, that's the weekend of the Shastra, right? So the week next at IIT Madras, we are organizing a conference. So I'm not 100% sure if I will have to cancel the classes, but I will announce. So that week be off. So we'll have to make up some of those classes in the Friday time. And then I have to take a leave for personal reasons in the week of 17 to 22nd February. So that week will also be off. And again, so in total, I think I'll need to make up 4 or 5 classes, which I will try to do through this remaining Fridays, okay? But idea is also to deliver it efficiently so that we still have, I will not try to push like beyond the 3 days that have been allocated to me, right? Come. you'll have to come in front. That's the rule. I like this entry from the back. Like you come back and you have to sit in front. That's a nice arrangement. In terms of, again, reiterating, I will give my best to give you the inputs that you need, but you have to do the output part of it, and that output will be evaluated in those 4 major chunks. One is the exam. There will be only an NSEM exam. There will not be any intermediate quiz 1, quiz 2. I do not believe in so many exams, and that will have a 30% weightage. What exactly will be the content of exam, I will also give you the ideas of the previous 2 exams that I have done, and we will decide that what is the best opportunity for this class. Quizzes, 20% weightage. These will be 10 minutes short quizzes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes short quizzes done during the class hours. 5 to 6 quizzes we will have. These will be surprise quiz, not announced. Okay. Assignments, again 20% weightage. You will be given 4 or 5 assignment, exact number I don't know yet, and that will contain 20% of your weightage. And then finally there is a group project component, which we will, depending upon the final strength, right now there are about 100 people, so I'll have to see how much is the group strength, but I'm trying to have at least 17 to 20 groups. You'll be working in teams of 4 to 5. And those who are familiar, you know the kind of work it requires. Those who are not, I will give you more instructions as we move along the course, right? The idea is this group project is not, this deliverable will not extend beyond the semester. So by the middle of the semester, I will give you enough information so that you can start working on your group project. You will have about 2 months to work with your team and still complete the group project and get the evaluation done within the framework so that your grades are uploaded on time. This time, a lot of you are also the graduating batch, so I cannot afford any delay in terms of uploading your grades, because otherwise your convocation gets delayed and everything, right? So everything is during the semester. Every evaluation will be done during the boundaries of the semester. It will not extend to your summers, or even if you take a take-home exam, that will be done during the semester. But typically for group project, first half, I will give you enough content so that you can start working. I will also help you identify the topics that you have to work on, continuous mentoring in terms of whether you are making enough progress or not, whether you'll be able to reach your final goal. And miraculously in last week, all of you will be done by 100% of your project. That is also fine with me, but I'll be there basically to help you out. Group project is something which all my previous graduates from this particular class have used in their CV points for placements, because the group project was really helpful for them. And that also brings me to the exam part of it. So the first time I had conducted this exam was a Moodle based exam, where everything was randomized, all random values generated, each question, every student got a different question. The ordering of it, that is different, not a question. Every question paper is unique basically, but that was time intensive. And therefore a lot of people suffered, that they thought they had a good potential, but they still could not score good marks. But ultimately it's a relative grading, so relatively they performed good. Last time I gave them, for which I received a lot of good blessings from people during the exam, which was a 3-day intensive exam, take-home exam, where I had given them a very detailed problem statement of how a realistic case study would feel like, and they had to come up with a solution for that, right? So during the exam, of course, I received lots of good cursings, but after the exam was finished, a lot of people did appreciate that, yeah, it was kind of a tangible outcome, that they learned something through this course and they actually saw it practically applied on a realistic kind of a scenario, right? So we'll see what this time we will do. One is, of course, I will give you more details upon how the people's experience was. So we will decide democratically. Also, it depends a little bit upon at that point, what will be my availability, sheet constraints, and so on and so forth. So we will decide on that pattern later on, right? But this is the basic detail. All right. So basic resources in terms of what all you need. No prior scientific knowledge is required. But at the same time, I would reiterate, for especially the civil engineering BTech students, you are already taking a construction project management course, or you have already done so. There is a lot of overlap in terms of the course content, but at the same time, there will be a lot of new things. So the biggest challenge that BTech students faced last time is they underestimated the course's content because of the overlap. They were pretty confident that this is overlap, so they can do well. And then towards the later half, things got out of hand. And I have statistics data for all my courses so far. BTech students have been performing way poorer compared to all other classes in my case. Not that I am, I have any bias against BTech students. I know in general what priorities IIT BTech students have, and you have all the rights to have those priorities. You have given those opportunities, but that's the fact. And the reason is because your priorities will evolve. As you are a final year student, you will have all the fun time that you want in your life, and you are entitled to it. Your third year, you will be looking for a lot of opportunities for internships and all, and therefore your priority to this course goes down. And I'm giving you a warning right now, I will not be considering all those factors later when it comes to evaluation, okay? So don't underestimate. If you're really interested, yes, you are welcome to the course. It is not a formal requirement that if you have done the project management, you can't do this course, but I'm giving you enough heads up. 50% of the course is overlap. That builds up a confidence in BTech student that I can manage this course. But evaluation, most of the evaluation is actually in the end sem. You will see 60% of the course evaluation is happening towards the end, right? And that's where you lose the focus and you will score bad. Just a heads up, okay? Not a threat to anything. I will not be like a biased person in evaluating. At the same time, I must acknowledge some of the most innovative solutions that I have gotten into the projects are from BTech students. One guy in my last class, there were two parts of the final exam. In one, I think out of 60, he scored 60 out of 60 because his solution on Excel sheet was so amazing. He did not even attempt the second one. Final grade E. So I know the potential. I know you can do good. It's just your choices are there, and therefore you are allowed to make that choice. But I'm just giving you a heads up. Okay. So this is how things have been done, and I've been observing this behavior. So just giving you a heads up. So in terms of the resource required, nothing much. Prior knowledge is not needed. In fact, I will give you the books recommendation, but you are not required to technically go through the books. All material will be on the slides. Whatever I need, I will provide to you. You are free to consult with any books, solve as many problems as you want. Welcome to that. We will do a lot of Excel-based exercises in this so that you have a parallel idea of how software works. That Excel is of course not a very big thing, but still it will give some idea of how to do this complex calculation in Excel. Internet connection is no longer needed because you are here. Yeah, but the one thing, although we are recording, these recordings will not be available to you guys. Okay, so this recording is only for NPTEL purpose. Class is very much offline. You can come here. Class is very much offline, and therefore, if you miss it, you have to get in touch with me to understand the concept, but there will not be a recording made possible for you. Class notes, lecture notes, I will keep on sharing. That's not a problem, right? This SMail account login, yes, this is more of a COVID time problem because a lot of my quizzes were online and all. So you needed to have an SMail login in order to get it done. I have this point here because it was a very pain point for me in the first semester. So few general consideration. Add drop is only allowed through workflow. So right now you are in that opportunity. If you want to drop, please drop. If you want to add, send me a request. I cannot promise right now to add except anyone else, because right now I'm at a 98 capacity and I do not have a bandwidth to have more students right now. So if some of you drop, then only the room will open for other people. So if your friends are interested, get a treat and drop the course so that they can come. Otherwise, it's your choice, okay? Again, auditing of the course is not allowed. Every material will be available. If you want just access to material, I will give you personally. But I do not want you to be auditing the class because a lot of activity depends upon my interactions with you as well as the group project and everything. And if you are just auditing, the group project efficiency goes down. I can't put you in a team and so that is not allowed. Again, focus on learning. The grade structure is easy enough for you to pass if passing grade is something that you are looking forward for. In general, easily you will score about 70-80% if you are just sincere enough and doing the basic things and contributing to the basic things. If your priorities change, even then, do not, the reason why I've kept it like this is essentially that even if your priorities change, at least you are graduating and you're passing the course because a lot of final year students are involved. But that does not mean that you are allowed to cheat or resort to any unfair means. I'm very strict with that. Some of you might have experience with that. I was surprised that some of you have experience and still in my class. So I don't know why. Was my punishment not severe enough to few of you? But at the same time, I do take these two things very seriously. One is the punctuality and the integrity part of it. Punctuality is, you can talk me all that this professor is not adequate and I have gotten all the kind of good feedbacks that I want. But at the same time, it's a must. This is a principle that I follow. Coming to class, I'm not enforcing those conditions. You can come whatever time, but submission of assignments have to be timely. Submission of NSIMs, whatever project, have to be done timely. A minute late, there is a minute late, okay? And you can ask anyone, I'm not joking when I say a minute late is a minute late, right? And same goes for integrity. You are expected to do everything on your own or with your teams, groups. You can take as much as help you want from them. Peer-to-peer learning is encouraged. You can ask me questions at any point of time, but at any point of time, if I catch any sort of practices, either you are out of the course or to the most severe grade possible, okay? Yes, I have to be cognizant of the fact that some people's degree and all other plans might get affected. So that is there, but think before you do those things. And if you, of course, there have been examples in the past class also. I've given, I think, 8 or 9 almost fail, but I finally did not fail a lot of people. But ultimately 8 or 9 cheating cases were dealt very strictly with, okay? So these are the two things that you have to be extremely careful. Giving you heads up warning right now. If you don't agree to the philosophy, you are free to walk away from the classes, okay? Except the UOP candidates, you are stuck with me for another one semester, right? In terms of the feedback, it does not mean I have my rules, but I am not an unreasonable person. So you are always, if you are sharing a feedback with me in terms of the delivery, in terms of your learning, every time it is welcome, and I try to incorporate it as much as possible during as and when the classes move. If you want additional time from me for your learning, I will enable those things through you, either through my TAs or my personal attention. Not a problem. Input as much as you want. Output has to be yours and original. Okay? Clear? Any doubts? No? Good. But at the same time, I do understand that there are genuine concerns. We all face difficulties in our life, and especially we are living in very uncertain worlds. So there is a flexibility inbuilt in everything. By any genuine reason, if you are not able to do or able to miss an assignment, a quiz, don't worry. If we have n number of assignments or n number of quizzes, we will consider n-1 number of best scores that you have gotten. So for example, if your assignments have gotten 20, 20, 20, 20 and 18, best 4 will be 20, still 20. So you can choose not to submit the final assignment, which is also a flexibility given to you, right? But at the same time, even if after this, I understand that there could be genuine concerns which emerge out of emergency situations. In those cases, communicate with me proactively. If you do not communicate with me, later it is very difficult for me to give you the benefit of doubt, right? And you also have to understand it from my perspective. I'm not dealing only on individual basis. I'm dealing with 100 people, right? So do you think it will be fair if somebody says an excuse and I accept that and you get a lower grade because of that? Like ultimately it's a relative grading. So communicate with me as soon as you anticipate a problem happening. I will accommodate all those requests. In genuine requests, I will always give you enough time and extra concession that you require. But once the deadline has passed, it becomes very difficult for me to help you. And then in that case, you still have a flexibility of using the n-1 rule. Okay? Clear here? Any doubts, any questions in this, how the rules will be applied? You can always choose that, okay, this assignment I'm not submitting because of the n-1 rule. N is the assignments that I give to you, not the assignments that you submit to me. Okay? It's about the input, not about the output. So yeah, and daily basis, I do not take attendance. I will not take attendance. The quizzes will be surprise. Towards the later half, I might even make them announced depending upon how I see the class participation is happening. I don't care about the number of people present in the class. As long as the classes are interactive, I am happy. Okay, as long as few people are learning. Could you put that on silent mode? Because it's getting recorded, so that's the big issue. All right, so any basic doubt about the structure of the course? That will basically, this much information should be sufficient for you to make up your mind whether you want to come to the next class or not, right? Now in terms of the course content, what is we are going to cover? So I divide this course, or largely I see it in two halves. Oh, I'm going out of screen. Wait. So essentially the course is divided into two halves from here. First half, which is only on the fundamental and the type of analysis, just focuses on giving you the basic concepts. And these concepts would also be sufficient for you to start your project work, right? And then we will go into the specific applications. And towards the final part, this is slightly different in nature, but I will also introduce you, right? So the basic idea that we are having is something called an engineering economy. Idea is that engineers make decisions. Can you give them a rationale to make decisions on financial consideration based decision, essentially, right? When I ask you to, as an engineer, when I always teach you to get an optimal result, right? We do solve a lot of optimization problems, but optimization problems are not the most economical problem always. And that is one of the primary concept that you will learn. How do you evaluate different projects, different concepts on a single language, which is the money language in this case, right? And there will be some concept related to time value of money, how 100 rupees today is not same as 100 rupees tomorrow. So how the time affects the value of money, the concept of interest rate, cash flows and things like that. All these fundamentals are nothing new. I think on as early as 6 to 7 standards in your school, you have been exposed to some of these concepts and will just build from them, right? Then I will show you how to use these basic concepts to use the kind of analysis that you need, right? So idea is that you need to convert all your money terms into a single point of time so that you can compare them, right? As I mentioned, $100 today or 100 rupees today is not same as 100 rupees tomorrow. So if you want to make a decision, you need to convert all the values that are there to a single point of time. And those methods are all these present worth methods, annual worth methods, rate of return analysis, and all those things, right? And since as civil engineers, we are also dealing with a lot of infrastructure projects. So it's not only on the related to the construction side. So a little bit of a flavor to the course also goes in cost benefit, where cost and benefits both are not easy to quantify in terms of direct money, right? So we'll talk about that also. And risks and decision making under uncertainty. This is not a probability course. I will not expect you to have that kind of a background, but how some of those concepts of risk and uncertainty in the decision making should be accounted in these model is something that what we will learn, right? So based on this basic two topics, this is quite heavy. It seems simple enough, but it is quite heavy in terms of the content. So I think a lot of my slides will be focused on them. After this, we will move on to more specific type of decisions that you as a construction manager or if working in any other industry are expected to make on a day-to-day basis. So these are the tools that I have given you, how to do the analysis I have given you by so far. How to apply that analysis in different condition is what we will start learning from the second half of the course, right? So in terms of your requirements for projects, your first half is sufficient enough, and then we'll move to the specific application. In that, we will go into some decisions related to replacement and retention, if you want to keep using an old piece of machinery or if you want to replace it with a new one, right? How to make that decision. Break even, how much quantity you should order of a particular thing so that you're profitable making them in-house versus outsourcing. Those kind of decisions you can make. Depreciation, taxes and things like that. And towards, I would say about 20% of the course is then focused on this accounting related information, how the real balance sheet looks like, so you should be able to make a decision, like understand what the basic financial information from a company looks like, right? So I will teach you the concept of accounting, how to do how to read the balance sheets and profits loss statements of a company. A very important information in the modern time when all of you are looking for investment opportunities and things like that. This is not an investment class, okay? Based on this, if you make investment and then come to me, sir, you asked me to read balance sheet and I made loss, not my responsibility. I will put a disclaimer. Mutual fund investment are subjected to market risk, not my responsibility, okay? But I'll give you a basic idea of how to read those statements and all those things, right? Generally, I have been getting a request that all of this is related to construction project, but I don't want to be in the construction industry after I graduate from here. Could it be also useful for a personal investment or personal finance perspective? So we'll see. If we have time, I'll try to arrange 1 or 2 lectures so that you could also get understanding of what kind of personal finance opportunities are available. Right after you graduate, you'll start getting money and you will buy MacBook in first, iPhone in second, but after that you need to start investing, right? So that's the kind of thing. So we will also talk about that a little bit, but that's not part of the formal course. I will never evaluate you on those topics. Evaluation will happen only on the construction side of it, okay? Those who have taken CPM, can you tell me how much of the overlap you can see here? More than 50%. So please don't come to the class. So I'm telling you it is, but yeah, I know in CPM there's a lot more variety of topics, so we do not go in depth of each of these concepts also. So that's where people tend to underestimate the thing, and yeah, try to be aware of that kind of a problem happening to you personally. Anything else? I'm also open to suggestions. If you want to discuss something, some additional topic you want me to cover, if you find something interesting, always you can share. If you are good enough, I can in fact invite you to take a lecture here. I'm okay for all those things. Otherwise, if I can get sufficient time to read about a topic of your interest, I can also cover that on lectures here. Not a problem for me. Okay? So far clear? No questions? Okay, surprising. These are the reference books for you. The Engineering Economy 4th edition is bit old, but I think now its 8th edition is easily available. You can always download it from library website. I think it is available, or you have other resources which I cannot mention now that I'm recorded. So you can always, it's easy to find books on the internet essentially. But in general, if you want, the second book, which is Engineering Economy by Zahid Khan, that book is available in IITM library. And if you are not able to access the first one also, do let me know. I will try to make it available in the library, online copy. We are moving away from physical copies anymore. But at the same time, if you need more information, there are other books. If you still are further interested, then we can also, I can give you more specific books that you would want. A lot of this, surprisingly, course content was inspired by my professor who offered a similar course in NPTEL. So I graduated from IIT Kanpur, and my professor, Professor Sudhir Mishra, he used to teach me this construction project management and economics course. So I have borrowed a lot of slides and materials from there, but of course it has been completely rearranged and in completely delivery is way different. In case you need reference material, that can also serve as a good reference point for you, because there you can at least have the basic videos see to revise some of the concepts that you have missed in the class. Okay? All these slides I will send you, so no need to make notes of these things. Cool? Now I'm feeling warm. Can you turn on the AC? Oh, so this is how it is going to be. They don't seem to have a control over it. All right. So today, let me just give you a very brief overview of, again, what are the foundational concept of engineering economy that we are going to deal about. So in general, as I was explaining, in almost all your BTech or MTech classes so far, you have been trained to solve a lot of optimization problem in terms of find the beam dimension which will be the most optimal to support a particular kind of load, or design a hydrological channel which will have the most optimal performance in terms of the flow ideas and all, right? The challenge with engineering in general is that the most optimal that you get theoretically, it's rarely acceptable to people, because in real world you are dealing with a variety of different type of stakeholders and their different demands, right? So in general, for example, I particularly work in high-speed railway, but I'm pretty sure even in this room, 70 to 80% of people don't think that high-speed railway is a good, viable option for India. And that's fine because it is associated with a huge cost. So as engineers, as project planners, as project managers, you always need to justify why it's this much money should be put in such an expensive type of system, where you have some other alternatives in terms of now we are having all these Vande Bharat Express trains which are indigenously developed. They are doing reasonably good, well made, India made, and things like that, right? So you always, as an engineers, you need to justify why you are doing certain things, and therefore this kind of an economic analysis plays huge role, right? So yes, there are certain limitations of economic analysis because it basically forces you to quantify everything in terms of the money terms, right? All the benefits that you can expect from for example, if you improve the road, right? Safety improves. But then how do you quantify the effect of safety in terms of money? One could be direct in terms of how many people, vehicle damages has been reduced, so that much money has been saved, right? But what is the cost of saving human lives? Economists have the value, I'm not asking you, but economists tend to have this concept that everything should be converted to a money equivalent. So you, me, every person in this room in India has a value of life. If you die, how much loss to the economy is happening? We can quantify, economists can quantify. Whether it is moral or immoral, ethical, not ethical, that is a different question. We are not dealing with that here. But idea is that there are a lot of stakeholder expectations from any decisions that you make. The most optimal performance from a technology alone is not sufficient, right? And that's precisely what you will learn, how to do that economic analysis, how to give people that value estimate so that they can convince whether to go ahead or not go ahead with a particular decision, right? And at the same time, the same problem can be solved by multiple types of solution, right? We learn about n number of algorithms to solve a single optimization. So how to compare? Yes, one is you can still compare on the technological performance. For example, the n square complexity that we talk about, like long data, it takes so much time, computational power, and so on and so forth. But again, all that can also be converted to a money equivalent, and you can bring that also here as a parameter for decision making, right? And so it's basically engineering economy then deals with decisions to choose between several possible solutions, which we call as alternatives, using the economic principle. But one of the fundamental assumptions that we are having when we define alternatives here is, when you are actually generating multiple solutions, each solution will differ from each other, right? For example, I'm pretty sure people would have a huge debate here in terms of OnePlus versus iPhone, right? Basically they are phones, but there are certain advanced features and each user associate the value to those features differently, right? I like the camera better, I like the smoothness of OS better. We can all do that. But inherently these are different because each product is different, but we assume that the basic functional requirement that these two alternatives will serve are equal for both the alternatives. So we are trying to not capture every product differentiation that way, and therefore a more simplistic explanation of what an alternative means. So I define the goal that this problem needs to be solved. As long as I'm satisfied that all these alternatives can solve at least this basic problem that I'm trying to more concerned about, other possibilities are equivalent. I don't care about them, right? So that's where the concept of alternative is slightly different. In real world, you will see the products are much more differentiated. But in the engineering economy, we make a simplistic assumption that as long as they satisfy the basic problem that I want to solve, all other features are not applicable for me, and therefore I am not worried about including them, because then it's not a fair comparison. You will never be able to make a comparison otherwise, right? So then, but the basic question then, why engineers should learn it? Why not hire MBA people, or most of you will do MBA after it and then do this kind of a statement, right? And this is where I at least have an answer from the kind of courses that I have been teaching and the research that I have done on safety. It's essentially, typically in many companies you will see, they start with a tech foundation, engineering driven, but they ultimately end up becoming by money. They end up becoming focused more on money. a lot of tech entrepreneurs, if that's the kind of example you resonate more with, they take exit because they no longer believe in the fundamental philosophy the business is making them do, right? They are excited about the tech stuff, but the business does not make sense. But does it make sense for you to leave all your hard work and go and leave everything and start something new just because you were not able to communicate your ideas, right? So I personally believe it's very, very important for engineers to be able to understand the money, because they are the first one to get kicked out of the things that they have created. So if you want to stop that from happening, and this is not about the tech company also, in general, engineers do not come very high on like top of organizational hierarchical structure, right? CTO does not have the same power as a CFO because money rules in the real world. But the CTO should be able to understand the money game in order to make his or her decisions count, right? And that's precisely the problem. In choosing the money, a lot of time your basic tech features get marginalized so much that you are no longer solving the problem that you are trying to solve. Your basic functionality gets lost, right? And I'll give you an example from, again, a fantastic documentary on Netflix, Challenger flight. Have you heard of the Challenger space shuttle? So there was similar space shuttle Columbia where Dr. Kalpana Chawla died when the space shuttle tried to enter. Challenger was before Columbia, about 15 years before Columbia, which met the same kind of an accident. While it was trying to ascend into the space, it broke into multiple pieces, all millions of dollars lost in a single second. And at the same time, astronauts, the human value of human resources who are such well-trained people, they lost their lives, right? If you see the documentary, you will realize engineers know precisely, they knew what was the problem with this flight. They had warned sufficiently, but they were not in a powerful decision making because they could not talk the money context of it. Idea in this particular case, I can give you a little bit of a mechanisms. I hope you appreciate. So this was a particularly cold day to launch. Typically, they do not launch on extremely cold days. And what happens, there is a ring, specifically a ring designed to provide a nice vacuum within the chambers inside the rocket. And there is also like a pressure cooker. When you try to catch the lid, you also put a rubber ring, right? So that precisely is the ring called O-rings. And that O-ring, the rubber is expected to be brittle when you are launching in a cold environment, right? And when it's brittle, it can break very easily. That's precisely happened in this particular case. Engineers warned them that do not launch it. But NASA, only because they were worried about public launching on that day, delaying a launch by like one day will cost them another $1 million. To save that, they tried to take this risk and you actually go ahead. But what if as an engineer, you would have been able to quantify the ability that if this mission fails like this, imagine the reputational damage, imagine the money that reputation will cause NASA, as well as the loss of resources, loss of human resources and things like that, right? So that's my argument. You can find your own argument as we go along with the course. But the idea is that engineers should be able to talk money, not outsource the talking of money, right? That's the way I look at the world. You can find your own how it is important, why it is not important. But at the same time, on a personal level, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to use a lot of these concepts on a daily basis. I invest in some, I'm recently starting to invest in a lot of options available, stock markets, wherever there are lots of apps. So you can easily use this concept that you will learn to make an understanding of whether it is making sense for you. Of course, there is a risk assessment and all those things need to become. It's not as easy, but personally, you will definitely benefit from this course. Okay. So this is where we will stop today. I think I've given you a very good overview of what exactly it is. Tomorrow onwards, we'll start from the basic concepts of time value of money, why it happens, what is its manifestation, how does it look like, why does it affect in our engineering economic calculations. Okay.